Hey there, welcome back to another review. This time it's a review of a film that quite a few of you actually requested to hear my thoughts on, and it's a movie I saw a while back. I believe I saw it around the same time it came out, or maybe like a couple weeks after its release, just to see what it was all about. Um, I was curious about the film because the trailer actually did interest me. I was just extremely leery of it from the beginning because this M. Night Shyamalan and his track record for me lately has been shit. I went into it with low expectations, and I wouldn't say I hated the film, but I would definitely say I was not very fond of it. I didn't come away after the film was over feeling that impressed or really feeling like that was really worth my time. It was just very, it was just very, I was very indifferent on the film. So this is going to be an interesting review and rant because there's not going to be a lot of ranting because if I tried to do that, it would come across as inauthentic because I'm not really that pissed at the film. It didn't piss me off or anything. I mean, it did feel like it was kind of a waste of my time. But at the same time, I'm like, there's worse things I could have been watching. But I don't know. It was just one of those films that I saw it, I forgot about it, and then that was it. um, I know it's a film that a lot of people love, and that's cool. That's great. I love that because that means that this world is still a very interesting place because there are people with multiple different opinions. I know it was a critical and financial success. It was made on a budget of $9 million and it made $274 million worldwide. So, you know, there's a lot of people who liked it. I just wasn't one of them. I just thought it was just below average. It wasn't to the point where it was like, oh, this was a total piece of shit. It was just like, this. I mean, admittedly, once I first saw it, I probably had the rating a bit lower because of all the praise it got that I just didn't get. I didn't understand. I mean, that's fine, but I was just like, really? Like, this is the film that's the return of M. Night Shyamalan? To me, he's still M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. He hasn't improved. The same problems that he had and he was dealing with and I saw in any film after Unbreakable are still present here. The same flat direction, the same flat characters and acting, and the same flat stories, the same stuff. I mean, the same, oh, we have an interesting idea, but then we don't use it correctly, we don't end up bringing it to its fullest, so to speak. We end up taking this story and this concept and getting the most out of it. We just have a cool concept and a really shitty story around it with really shitty characters. So I, mean, I guess this kind of is a rant. I mean, when I think about it, it's a film that it's not doesn't enrage me as much as other movies did, but I still had quite a few problems with it. Now, Split, as you all know, is a 2017 film. It's listed as a 2016 movie, but it really isn't. This is one thing that also annoys me. On IMDb and other places, they list a film as a 2016 film just because it premiered at a film festival once in 2016. I don't consider that the actual release date. I'm sorry. Was it a wide release? No, it was just at that film festival. I don't get that. When did that start? I mean, there were other films. I think this is a recent thing because I definitely do remember movies in the past that have actually aired at a film festival before they came out in theaters in a wide release. Some pretty well known films, and they were not marketed as being released a year before. So I just I don't get this. It's just a nitpicky thing, but it just annoys me. I'm calling this a 2017 film, and that's what it's going to say in the title because it's not a 2016 film. It did not come out in 2016. It came out in January of 2017. Now, the film was directed by M. Night Shyamalan. It also is written by M. Night Shyamalan. I really do feel he needed another writer who could look at the script, who can come in and fix some things, cut some stuff out, trim the dialogue down a bit, add some more, add some character development to the other characters, the other three girls, other than just Casey. Give them a personality, give them a charisma, so they aren't just three basic bitches, because that's ultimately what they were to me. They're just three basic bitches. They had no personality. I would not be surprised to see them at Starbucks ordering the pumpkin spice latte or the unicorn frappuccino. Uh, they have nothing to them. And also, cut out some of the padding. There are scenes in this that are just padding. I mean, there's a long scene where one of the basic bitches, I'll call them basic bitch number 2 and basic bitch number 3. So one of the basic bitches is trying to get out of her predicament. She's captured. She's been holed up somewhere, and she's trying to get out of the place she's trapped in by using a coat hanger or something to try to pull a sliding lock. And that's physically impossible to do with a coat hanger. And so the film lingers on this scene for what feels like an eternity. And I'm like, this is pointless. This is absolutely pointless. And it is. It didn't lead to anything. It didn't go anywhere. Just talk about Split. Yeah, that kind of shit gave me a splitting headache. So yeah, all right. It doesn't piss me off as some other movies do, but it does aggravate me. It does, certain stuff like that does aggravate me. But that aggravates me about in anything. If I'm seeing a movie and they got some stupid, pointless scene that I'm just like, why the fuck was this in here? I mean, that does admittedly stick in my craw, so to speak. So M. Night wrote the film. It features a score by Wes Dylan Thornton, which I don't remember a single note from. It didn't add anything to the film to me. Cinematography by Mike Gouliakis, which isn't much. Edited by Luke Franco Chirarochi. It's there, I guess. It's nothing impressive. It's just competent. There's nothing noteworthy about the editing. Has a running time of 117 minutes, which is way too long because there's not a lot of meat on the bone when it comes to this film's story. At least not for me, anyway. Features a cast that's comprised of James McAvoy, who plays Kevin Wendell Crumb, who's a sufferer of dissociative identity disorder, who has 23 different personalities, each with something peculiar or dangerous for his captives, and you don't see all 23 of them. Which I find really ironic considering the movie's tagline is Kevin has 23 distinct personalities. The 24th is about to be unleashed. Yeah, it would be nice to see all 23 of those distinct personalities. That would be great. But no, you see maybe half of them, but majority of the personalities you see is just a handful. The other ones you see on like a video, like some video that like webcam footage that while one of the other personalities had taken over Kevin at the time, pressed record and recorded whatever was on their mind. And that was just a random scene near the end where Casey's just looking on a computer and just watches these video clips of these different personalities. Yet, for the most part, you just see Dennis, Barry, Patricia, Hedwig, and the Beast. And of course Kevin, who is actually the person who has all these different personalities in his head. The other ones are you just see briefly, and that's it. You never see all 23. Probably because the film dicks around and spends too much time with these basic bitches and the plight of them trying to escape from their captors, which is not captivating at all. So it doesn't have enough time to show all the 23 different personalities because we have to have time for this boring bullshit with these basic bitches. So anyway, speaking of basic bitches, you have basic bitch number one, Casey Cook, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who is a young girl with a traumatic past and a history of self-harm, who was kidnapped by Dennis, one of Kevin's personalities. Betty Buckley plays Dr. Karen Fletcher, who's a psychologist who attempts to help Kevin with his DID. She believes that DID can, in extreme cases, cause physiological changes. Her character, to me, is another example of this film just padding the running time. She seems to be just there to be an exposition dump for M. Night's ideas of how somebody with DID could potentially be able to change their body chemistry and physiology. Then you have basic bitch number two, Claire Benoit, played by Lu Richardson, who is just, she is the typical basic bitch. When you look at the meme with basic bitches, when you look at that kind of stuff, she is the typical basic bitch. She's a blonde, rich, white girl. She's snooty. She acts like she has a stick up her ass. And I didn't like her. I found her to be annoying, and one basic bitch was bad enough. Now we have a second one. Oh, and hey, let's have a trifecta. Let's have a trifecta of basic bitches. So with Jessica Sula, who plays Marsha. Marsha, who's a classmate of Casey and a friend of Claire, who was also kidnapped by Dennis. Then you have a few other actors, like Brad William Henke, who plays John, Casey's uncle in a flashback. Sebastian Arcelius, who plays Mr. Cook, Casey's father, in a flashback. Neil Huff, who plays Mr. Benoit, Claire's father. Kim Director, who plays Hannah. Lynn Renee, who plays an academic moderator. M. Night Shyamalan, who of course has to have his own cameo because he's such a narcissist. He plays Jai, a random security guard in Dr. Fletcher's apartment building. And then you have Bruce Willis in a cameo, playing his character David Dunn from Unbreakable. And that whole thing, I understand M. Night was trying to throw a bone to fans of Unbreakable, but it just felt like he punched me in the balls, because I'm just like, wow, what a way to show me a movie that I wish I was watching instead, M. Night. So, out of all of the members of the cast, I mean, Betty Buckley was okay, but I just found her character to be rather boring. But the best character and the best performance is undoubtedly James McAvoy. I can see why he got a lot of praise for this role. I can see why people think he's fantastic. I really do feel that he is. I agree. He's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal performance. He's the main reason why I stuck with this film instead of shutting it off and going to watch something else because of his performance. Because I wanted to see more of his performance. I wanted to see how he was going to bring the next personality to life. Next personality to life. I wanted to see what he was going to do next. The problem is, even though he has a lot of screen time, he doesn't do a lot. So you have these scenes with his different personalities. You have scenes where he's just going back and forth between Dennis and Patricia and Hedwig, and you have this cat and mouse back and forth kind of pinballing sort of effect with these personalities and this cat and mouse game with Dennis and Patricia trying to keep these three girls captive so they can sacrifice them to the beast, the 24th personality in Kevin's head. And it doesn't work because these three characters are absolutely boring, bland, basic bitches who you do not give a flying fuck whether they live or die, which causes a serious problem with the film's attempts at being suspenseful or thrilling. And it just drags the film down. It feels like this movie is running in place. It's like a perfect visual representation of this film is James McAvoy just running in place, busting his ass, but still going nowhere. Just running in place. Because that's ultimately the film for me. It's just running in place. It doesn't go forward. It just stays in one place. This film had potential, and I personally felt it was wasted. I personally feel James McAvoy deserved to be in a better film than this, especially this character. I wish they just made Unbreakable 2 with this character and had Bruce Willis's character trying to take him out or hunt him down. Maybe throw Mr. Glass in there. That would have been a hell of a lot better and more entertaining than this movie because we have this long, boring, drawn out bullshit with these three basic bitches held hostage, and I'm supposed to give a fuck about whether they get out or whether they survive just because they're captives or they're innocent or whatever. I mean, the movie just opens up with them literally getting kidnapped a few minutes into the film. They're in a parking lot, they get kidnapped. They get thrown into this underground complex room, and they get forced to interact with these different personalities. And that's it. It's not really a body count film because no one really gets in any danger or dies until over an hour into the movie. The beast finally shows up way, way too long into the film's running time, in my opinion. Because I think he should have shown the beast or flashes of it earlier. Because the build up to the beast, it's not very engaging. It doesn't grab me. So I'm waiting for this beast to show up, and when it does, there's some cool stuff. But it finally shows up. He eats the two other basic bitches, and then you have this typical, boring, lame showdown with the final girl, Casey, versus the beast. And then it's a total anticlimax because it basically ends with the beast letting her go because he realizes that she has scars on her body and realizes that she isn't pure and that realizes that she is pure in his mind because he feels that people who haven't experienced difficult times or any sort of struggle in their life should be cleansed and purged. But he realizes that she has, so he lets her go. And before this, she had multiple chances to stop this. She brought Kevin back by saying his name, so he's able to control his body again. Kevin has a moment of cognizance where he's clear-headed and he's like, kill me, which is understandable because he knows what the beast is capable of and what kind of havoc he can wreak. But nope, she doesn't kill him. She has a shotgun. She waits for the beast to manifest himself again. She stands there crying with a gun. And I think maybe she hadn't loaded it yet. It doesn't matter. Use the butt of it or something. Hit him with the butt of the gun. What are you waiting for? Why are you sitting here going like, standing there crying? Do something. Either what do you what do you want to escape? Do you want to survive, or do you want to get fucked? Because if you just stand there crying, you're gonna get fucked. But apparently that doesn't happen here because of the bullshit anticlimax or the beast lets her go because, oh, you're pure. You look like you've been fucked over or had a fucked up childhood. You're free to go. I'm gonna go fuck off somewhere else. All of that buildup for what? The beast shows up for maybe 5 minutes. He lets her go. The two other basic bitches get eaten, and I don't care. The psychiatrist lady dies, and I don't care. You find out a twist that that Kevin's home was underneath the zoo, which just what? Because he used to live and work there. Casey gets reunited with her because the figure of the flashback. You know why she cuts herself is because she was sexually abused by her uncle when she was a kid. Her dad died at a young age, and then her uncle was made her guardian. So she's gonna be given back to her guardian, and the police are asking her, "Do you want to go back to him?" And she's like, "I don't know." And you don't really get a response for that. And I'm just like, why would she stay with this guy? He abused her. He sexually assaulted her. Why would he stay with her? I don't understand why this is even a decision. Why do you even want to stay with? He's an asshole. He's a scumbag. Why do you want to stay with that guy? Maybe she doesn't have anywhere else to go. If that's the case, all right. I don't know. Film doesn't give you a response to any of that. You have, like I said, you have basically a little cameo role with Bruce Willis where he's sitting in a diner and while these people are watching video footage of the case and everything that's gone on, they're calling Kevin the Horde, which I'm like, what? You steal that from Masters of the Universe? And so they're calling him the Horde, and they're also mention a guy in a wheelchair 15 years earlier. And of course, then somebody in the diner is talking about, oh, that reminds me of this guy. Actually, the guy in the diner talks and says it reminds him of some guy in a wheelchair who was. And then Bruce Willis's character turns around, yeah, that was Mr. Glass. The movie ends, and I'm just like, really? That was it? I don't. What was so impressive about that? What was so amazing about that film? Sorry, other than James McAvoy's performance. The idea was good, the idea was sound. I just don't think the film got the most out of it because you had these three basic bitches that really bogged the film down for me. What is up with these films lately, especially in the horror genre, where they don't want to have characters that have charisma and personality? They just throw them in there in a situation and they're getting stalked and someone's going to try to kill them or get them in a situation they don't want to be in or they're trapped. And I'm just automatically supposed to care about whether they live or die or whether they escape. What is up with this shit? What is up with this lazy bullshit, this lazy writing? Do people not know how to write characters that are charismatic anymore? Do they not know how to do that? It's just, I don't get it. I mean, even some of the cheapest slasher films I've seen from the 80s managed to have some likable characters. That's just a crippling flaw for me in any film like this. You have a film that's supposed to be suspenseful and thrilling, and you have your main characters, the ones that are in danger, are all characters that are devoid of personality, who are boring, who are about as enticing and about as interesting as a bowl of grape nuts without the fucking milk. That really kills a film like this for me. It's impossible for it to have any suspense for me. And I'm not even necessarily asking for character development. Just something. Like, just have a personality. I sound like a broken record, but I keep saying the same shit over and over again because it keeps happening. I guess I just hope if I keep saying it, that maybe someone will hear it and maybe something will happen. Maybe finally someone will get a clue and be like, oh, maybe we should write some characters that, you know, aren't boring, who actually smile and have fun and aren't annoying and aren't a cliche, or even if they are cliched, at least they, maybe, at least they don't act like they have sticks up their asses and act all unnatural and say their dialogue in the most monotone way possible. But that's an M. Night Shyamalan ding dong, uh, trend, or not really trend. Trope is probably a better word for that. That's a your typical M. Night Shyamalan ding dong acting right there, where you're supposed to be scared and just like, I am so scared, guys, guys, girls, we gotta get out of here. We gotta do something. We gotta find a way out. That actually did sum up a lot of the performances of these three basic bitches. Really, they're in danger, in mortal danger, and they're like, we gotta do something. We gotta find a way out of here. But anyway, I don't really know what else to say about this film, except if you're curious about the movie, check it out. Maybe you'll like it more than I did. Um, I do feel it was worth a watch, I guess, at least once for James McAvoy's performance, but because he really did a great job doing all these different. It was a very challenging role, and he really did pull it off very well. And I want to make that clear. It's just his outstanding effort was not enough for me. Wasn't enough to save the film. So yeah, if I was gonna rate it out of 5 stars, I would give Split 2 out of 5 for 1 star alone for James McAvoy's performance, uh, and the other star is made up out of things, a combination of things like the concept, the idea, some sequences, some scenes, like scenes with some of the scenes with the Beast, um, and a few things here and there, like competent editing and stuff like that. But the direction, the story, and the characters, other than James McAvoy, ultimately fell flat for me. They got a big F because they failed. It was a fail. It was a big fail for me personally. It fell flat on its ass. All three of those very important elements to me fell flat on their asses. So, yeah, that's just my opinion on Split. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you guys later. See ya.